Okay, so can you see me? Pardon me for looking like an absolute bum. Well, actually, don't pardon me. I'm so comfortable right now. It's like out of control. Like these are the schlumpiest sweats I own, and it's freaking great. So I am not apologizing. I hope you guys are like nearly as comfy as I am right now. I hope you're having a great night so far. So I'm really excited to do this topic. I think it's really important because like I always say, these calls, these lessons are usually a compilation of things that I have heard all throughout the week from all different clients in different forms. And this topic this week was I'd say probably for the past like 2 weeks is very common. And that is the worry, the panic, the hatred of yourself, and all of that when things don't go according to plan. And I always remind people and say, nothing goes according to plan. You can try whether you were doing this program or doing whatever. It's not that you yourself can't succeed because for some reason things never go according to plan in your life. It's that everybody's life is like that. We don't see those parts of other people's lives, just as they don't see those parts of your life. As far as they're concerned, everything could be going according to plan for you every day. So we really don't realize that nobody has it all together. Like most people are just always flying by the seat of their pants, figuring it out as they go. It's the only thing we can do really that we can plan around is our ability to adapt. Otherwise, what's the saying? There's nothing certain in life but death and taxes. It's a pretty grim outlook, but it just to show you, that like you really could have the best intentions and nobody has a running roster of shit that's coming up and they're like, oh yeah, mystery diagnosis, let's pencil that in. Yep, you know what? Car trouble. Let's schedule that for the first week of December because 2 weeks later I want to make sure that my pay gets randomly cut and I don't have enough food before Christmas. Like nobody sits there thinking of this plan. Like nobody's like, you can't. But it's not that you're selected out of some messed up barrel and it's like, oh, well, this week, Sally's going to have the shittiest week of her life. Congrats. Like everybody is in the muck together. We are all just trying to get our bills paid, get our bellies fed, and just get through life, honestly. So I want you to first, this is the number one rule of this Zoom. Throw the plan out. Just throw it out. I'm going to explain what that means because I don't know if any of you guys with OCD in here are getting a little tickle. Like, but what do you mean? What am I going to do? I'm right there with you. I used to feel like a plan. This is my first point here. I used to feel like a plan made me feel better. It made me feel more hopeful. It made me feel more, I don't know, together. But here's the thing. What I realized as well is every time I had set out to have a rigid plan for myself, it never lasted. And I sat there and for so long, I blamed myself that why can't I just seem to be disciplined? Why can't I seem to follow the plan? Why does my life seem like it has a million things being thrown at it? And I stopped asking that question. And I started saying to myself, why don't I plan around the bullshit? Why don't I make plans for when the stuff happens, for when we're in the muck, for when everything feels like it's falling apart? Because if I'm prepared for those times to handle how I feel, those events can happen or not happen as they're always going to. But ultimately, the only thing I can control is how I handle it. And I know it's easier said than done. I said this at first and then continued to act like a lunatic for a few months. But so it's going to take time to really acclimate to that concept. And I will explain to you what we do instead of having a plan. But throw your idea of time, of what's good and what's bad, of what is a failure and what is success. Throw all of that out because it is a gauge that you yourself and society together over time and you yourself hating yourself this whole time have made. So think about this. You've hated yourself for a long time, right? Some of you are farther along in your journey in here than others, but for the most part in the past, you've had a pretty grim outlook on yourself, right? So we're changing that. We're not going to change that overnight, but I hope that in teaching you about the systems, the concepts that I'm going to go over with you today, you stop thinking that the rules that the person who hates you, aka yourself all these years, has your back. that person doesn't have your back. That person has hated you for a really long time. They have not served you. They are there to put you down. And I told you so every time you're a human. Get rid of that. What we're going to do today is we're going to create a new set of standards that you're going to follow going forward. Because if you've done what you've always done, nothing's going to be different. So stop trusting the voice of the asshole of the past. We're beyond that. I'm so sorry if there's children listening to this. I will try to curtail the cursing a little. So, okay. My first question to you guys, I want you to use the chat feature here. I really enjoyed this about the last Zoom. It was very interactive, okay? My question to you is, why do you think plans, because I know you guys, you have plans for plans. You got a plan for food, you got a plan for work, you got a plan for everything, right? Why do you feel having those plans makes you feel more secure or better if they don't end up panning out? So why do you guys think that we feel a lot more secure having a plan, even if the plans never really pan out the way we had hoped? It's a double sip. I am thirsty today. So why do we feel plans make us feel more secure if they never really pan out the way we hope? I think having those plans gives me a sense of having it together, even if the plan doesn't work out. Fair enough. Makes me feel like I'm trying more. If I don't, I feel like I'm not trying. Very good point. We'll get to that as well. Because it provides the structure that I feel like I need. I like. I maybe added a little extra emphasis to feel like I need for a reason, but we'll get to that. But yeah, basically, keep them coming. But these are all, I hope you guys see, this feeling of togetherness is fleeting, because we could talk about lovely things. We could talk about all the warm, fuzzy things in the world, and we'll feel warm and fuzzy while we're talking about them, right? But if you go outside and your entire world is just bleak and gray every single day, do those warm, fuzzy thoughts follow you? Or if you have to put action into place to keep those warm, fuzzy thoughts going, it's a lot harder, right? So the plans make us think that we're prepared. It makes us feel like we have everything together. But then this is my next question for you guys. How does it feel when you plan and that plan does not work, or you completely forget about it and go off on your own and tangent anyway? So how does it feel when you make a plan and you do not stick to the plan, or life runs away with the plan or whatever? How does that feel after you've written it up and you feel all secure in it? It makes me upset, and I feel guilty for not sticking to it, beyond frustrated, hopeless, wondering why I even try. Feels like chaos and I don't like it. I like all the caps, by the way, because that's how it feels in my brain. So it feels like chaos and I don't like it. I don't know. I pictured Steve Carell yelling it as I read it in caps. It can go one way or the other. Things go better unplanned, or we make us feel low and unaccomplished. Yeah. So my point in showing you this comparison is mentioning things like guilt or self-doubt, or I don't like it, or it feels like chaos, or whatever. Who created that measure of what should be good or done in that plan? Who assigned that plan to you? Who put that time frame on your head, and who measured that level of success? No one but ourselves. Absolutely. So guilt, that's an important thing, and you guys have heard me talk about it for a long time, and that's my next point is, guilt means that we feel badly, we feel remorseful, we feel that we've wronged someone, or we are guilty of a crime of some kind, or we've dropped the ball on something awful, when really, if we just decided that we shouldn't be so damn hard on ourselves, what happens to all those plans, all that guilt, all that unnecessary negativity towards ourselves when we inflicted it upon ourselves? There's nothing wrong with starting out with one thing on your to-do list at a day, like on a day. Like that's it per day. There's nothing wrong with that. If you think that that's undercutting what you could do, you are choosing, I'm big on choices. You're choosing to put yourself in that box of someone who is bad or not good enough or whatever, because life may happen where you can't do something as well as you thought you did in the morning. I'm not a fortune teller. I'm a little psychic, but that's a different story for a different day. You guys aren't fortune tellers. You can't clairvoyantly see the future and be like, you know what? I can see how today's going to plan out. And you just choose to throw the plan in the trash. You made a plan with the best possible intentions, not knowing what the future events of that day held. Like you did your best, and if you're saying, but that's not good enough, that's not good enough. Okay, so getting into it here, I want to talk about beating ourselves up. Okay. Beating ourselves up is the ultimate waste of time, energy, the whole nine, a mood, whatever. I want you to think, okay? Let's say somebody wrongs you, right? Like you got into a fight with someone really hurt you. What do you need to see from them to forgive them? What do you need to see? What do you need to hear from them to forgive them for wronging you or hurting you? Actions. What kind of actions? What about these actions compared to the thing that hurt you? What do you need to see in those actions? Effort, of course, yeah. But also change, change in your actions, not doing it again, not repeating the same thing again. What else? What else do you guys need to see or hear from someone else who has wronged you to forgive them? Remorse for hurting you. But like when someone does something to you and they come to you, yeah, change behavior. They come to you and they say, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. Is that enough? Are those words enough? What do you need to see and experience for you to be like, yeah, this person's, right, taking ownership of it? Let's say someone you love really, really messed up. Like, I'm not even talking messed up with you, but like messed up and like you're pissed at them because it's making your life harder now that they messed up. What do you expect from them in that situation, in that moment? That would help you. Like they really dropped the ball. Why did you do it? That's important to ask as well. But also, we're forgetting, you want them to fix it. You want them to fix what it is that they did. You want them to learn from that it hurt you and fix that thing and then not do it anymore, right? We want them to just change their behavior, to recognize the thing that hurt you, to say, okay, I understand that this was wrong. We need all those things to feel closure, right? So when we beat ourselves up, right, why don't we ever think of it as, I'm just going to really try and fix this? We spend so much time talking shit to ourselves, but we don't take that exact same time that we beat ourselves up with and just say, that's useless. That's a waste. Okay, let me fix this. Let me fix this problem. Let me problem solve. That is the difference in critical thinking and the mindset that you have to make whenever you have a human moment or you slip up or you mess up. Don't go on a 2-hour tirade about how much you suck, because that's not going to make anybody else happy. That's not going to change the situation that happened. It's not going to take it back. It's not going to make it feel better. It's not going to push you forward. It does nothing. It is completely and utterly useless. It keeps you stalled. So, and this is, again, I am not expecting this overnight for you guys. Like, this realization of mine is where my growth began. Like realizing that I've spent more time hating on myself than I have trying to fix the thing that makes me hate myself. That distinction was huge. And it took a lot of time to not be so hard on myself. I'm still hard on myself. Are you kidding? I'm still like, Second, you guys see I put up pictures. I'm like, is this picture good? Like in the group chat sometimes. Because I'm a human being, you know, sometimes not always like I know everything, you know, but at the end of the day, what the hell is the point of beating ourselves? No one, and this is a little bit of a brutal part that I put here. No one is interested in your guilt. They only care about you fixing whatever situation it is that gets you upset. Now, I'm not saying that people don't care about you. Of course, your loved ones care about you. But at the end of the day, if they hear you hemming and hawing because you just can't get it right, how, you know, they can be sympathetic, they can be empathetic, but at the end of the day, it's not up to them to tell you it's okay. It's up to you to not need that it's okay and instead say to yourself, all right, so that wasn't my best. What do I need to fix? That shift in mindset saves you so much time and so much energy to be like, well, that didn't go according to plan. What do I need to do now? And just thinking about, let me fix this, damage control. Because each and every one of you is going to screw up. I'm going to screw up. We're all going to screw up time and time again throughout life. It is the human condition. Not to mention, do we give ourselves enough credit for how hard it is to get by in 2019? It is not like our parents' time where you could buy a house for 20 grand. You know, one person can work. You know, it's just not like that anymore. It's just not possible. So can I just take a second in this whole thing before we transition to what do we do when the plan is actually going to shit? And just congratulate each and every one of you on messing up. Because when you mess up, you are provided with a place to get better. You are provided with information on where you get stronger. I use the Dyson example. Some of my veterans in here have heard this example so often. But Dyson vacuum, for some reason, it's got the ball in it. It's like a couple $1,000s extra than any other vacuum on the market. It was a total sucker, and I bought it. Get a Shark. It's better. But anyway, Dyson had 5,122 failed first prototypes before their first successful prototype made it to market. 5,122 attempts at the same damn outcome, at the same damn design. What they did was they did it. It didn't work. They took it back to the drawing board. They said, what could we fix that maybe didn't work? They fixed it. They tried again. Didn't work. They did this. They went back and forth until they ended up with this product that they felt proud of, that worked, that sustained. But they had to fail 5,122 times to be provided with what they needed to get better at. That is the story of anybody who started out as a complete novice in anything and became an expert, is they had to screw up time and time again to learn where the strength needed to be. So I want to congratulate all of you on all of your screw ups, because they have all led you to this point, and they have all led you to the point of knowing you need to fix something. That's an amazing place to be in. So, you know, if those of you feeling hopeless, I feel fired up after saying that. I hope you guys feel fired up. I hate on our Dyson because the battery life is crap. It is a great vacuum. It is very easily maneuverable. It's very spoony friendly. It's very light. But man, it lasts like 10 minutes maybe, that vacuum. It's like crazy. I can't get my whole first floor done before it's dead. Nuts. And I have a 1,600 square foot house. I said my whole first floor like I live in a palace. But so let's see, where am I in this chicken scratch? Okay, next time you're beating yourself up, take a breath, realize you're beating yourself up. Stop, and then write down on paper, in your phone, write down what the problem is in that moment. The problem that you're looking to solve immediately in that moment. If you're thinking of like, oh, well, I'm upset because X, Y, and Z, that's not the problem. I don't know what you're feeling. I want to know why it is that you're feeling upset at that moment. Why are you beating yourself up? What did you want instead that didn't happen? What is the problem that you need to solve going forward? Do you need to figure out how to prep different? Do you need to figure out restaurants to avoid until you get stronger and you're able to make worth it choices? You know, like figure out the problem that you're upset about rather than just focusing on the emotions of being upset. If that makes sense. So view your problem, your mistakes as data. Okay. Now I want you guys going forward, and this is going to help for those of you who are like, well, what do I do when life is just nuts? I want you guys to think in principles and concepts going forward, okay? I'm going to revisit the whole, I've done this in another video, so if you guys have not seen it, go back and look on the page, but negotiating the terms. That is a huge concept I want to convey to you guys, okay? So what is negotiating the terms? I had, those of you who've heard this already, I'm so sorry, but I have had a client in the past who called me up just so bent out of shape and pissed off and upset because when we first started, she was upset that she went to get takeout like 5 days out of the week because she felt like, oh my God, what a reject, you know, like why can't I just cook, blah, blah, blah. Typical mom guilt, wife guilt. Ugh. So she got to a point where she was not having takeout at all. Not that there's anything wrong with takeout, that you guys know there's options to be had at whatever, you know, establishment, but she was really proud of herself that she got to the point that she went from having takeout that often to now not. And I remember the first day she had takeout again in like 2 months, and it was like she had just smoked a cigarette after quitting for a year after being a 10-year smoker. You know, like she was devastated. So I said to her, I was like, you know, what did you order? Like, it's not terrible. It's one day, you know, you're great. You didn't continue to go home and binge, right? And she's like, no, oh my God, no. So I'm like, okay, well, what'd you order? She's like, well, I had the chili, but I didn't have the beans. I had a salad, but I didn't have the croutons. I forgot what, and she said I had a burger, but I took the buns off. So ultimately she had no gluten. She had no, well, there might be sugar in there because there isn't all fast food, whatever, it's negligible. You know, she still stuck to her guidelines. She was still within her guidelines for her body. You know, she still kept it right in line with what she would have eaten if she was home, but she was so upset. So I actually said to her, I was like, you did a great job. Oh, sorry, my cousin who just had a baby messaged me, and I was like, but you know, you did a great job. You picked exactly what I would have picked probably. You know, why are you upset? And she's like, because I wasn't perfect. I didn't plan right. I didn't plan my meals right. I didn't prep right. I shouldn't have been in that situation. But I said to her, but what's the big friggin' deal if you still did what you had to do for your body? She's like, well, I never thought of it that way. That all or nothing approach just keeps us feeling like crap about ourselves. There's no efficient thing for that. You know, there at the end of the day, she did a great job. She did what I call negotiating the terms. She had a situation that arose. It wasn't the ideal situation that she wanted, but she did what she had to do with what she was dealt, and she still ended up sticking to what she had to stick to. You know, so first of all, remember that when you're in a situation and you're like, it's different than anything else. Let's say you're traveling somewhere and the food options there, you know, you didn't look them up ahead of time and there's like nothing, right? Instead of panicking, instead of getting upset or whatever, you want to say to yourself, okay, what are my guidelines? Let me look into the restaurants in the area. Where can I find one thing that I can actually have? Let me go there and start there. And I promise, as you start to approach your situations and your problems as problems to solve, you will stop feeling so helpless and you'll stop being so afraid that it's not sustainable because you've agreed in your head, this is how I do things. So I have to find the best way to do them by negotiating the terms and doing with what I got. And then when I'm back in an ideal situation, I will carry on. That switch, be nicer to yourself. It's not about being perfect. Nobody is getting, you know, this is not going to be on your splashy, you know, client win picture I put on my Instagram with your headshot like this, you know, like in your results splashed above your head. Don't worry. Like, you know, this is not that serious. As long as you just negotiate the terms, do your best. I'm still freaking proud of you. You know, it's still more than you've ever been doing in regards to trying to get a handle on it. So just keep that in mind. I want to, and then when it comes to principles and concepts, think on your own how to replace things. I want to shout out our girl Yvonne in here. She's like brand new. And we were talking the other day, and I know a lot of you guys do this, but I don't want to be like, only Yvonne does this. You know, like I just reminded me to shout this out is that when I talk to a client who's like, you know, I was craving XYZ. So I went on Pinterest and I just looked up low carb XYZ. And I tried my best to do it. Or I hear a client say, okay, so I really was craving this. So I used your dough recipe and I edited it like this. You know, that is fun. when you're able to find something and make it your own and like satisfy that craving and also feel like, wow, it's okay that I ate as much as I wanted of this, it becomes really exciting. It gets you pumped to keep going. So I encourage you guys, don't say to yourself like, oh, I can't have that. That's never going to last. Human nature will prevail. And it'll usually prevail during a really shitty time where you're really upset. So that being said, have fun with the process. Look for alternatives. If you're stuck for an alternative, ask about it in the page. Message me about it. There are a ton of different ways that you can still problem solve, even if it's not the ideal situation. Even though you wish you could just eat the damn cinnamon bun from Cinnabon. You know what? Now you can make your own. It takes maybe 10 more minutes of effort, and you can eat until you're full and feel great. So just keep that in mind. Get rid of the idea of this being throw-outable. I'm not doing this, as I've said a million times, and you guys know this, and you're not here for this as well, is I'm not here to help you guys look great in a bathing suit for bikini season. That is not my mission here, okay? My mission is to help you guys get control of an illness that has been making life harder on you for years, manifesting in how we look. The look part is secondary, okay? So that being said, don't sit there with one foot in the water, one toe just feeling the temp, right? This whole time until you reach a certain amount of weight loss that you feel is undeniable, and then let's fully commit to believing in this. Don't have the concept of, well, life is just too crazy. I can't even think about that. I'm just going to eat whatever is convenient and I will deal with that later. No. Don't allow those excuses, those things. I'm not saying you're making these excuses. We feel they're very real. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys is this is not something you do when the going is easy. This is not something you do when it's smooth sailing, when you're home and everything is meal prep that week. This is something we're doing. We're doing this for the long haul because your body needs to repair. Your body needs to get better. That takes time. None of this is new. But at the end of the day, if you're sitting there with this temporary mindset, or you're sitting there thinking of, things being too crazy for you to be able to do it, then it always is going to be something you're doing instead of just the way you live your life. And that is the big difference. Every diet you've done before this has been something you're doing. If you want to change the rest of your hormonal future and your life, this has to be the way you live it. That's why I say worth it moments have to matter. They have to be prioritized, but that doesn't mean that when the going gets rough, you could take a break. I mean, you can. You just need to know that choice that you're making, what that's going to do to you, how it's going to delay you. Is this making sense to you guys? Is this speaking to you guys? Is it what is it? Touching home? I don't know why I can't think of that phrase right now. You guys get what I'm saying. Hopefully it's one of those. So if you feel situations are too stressful for you to try and still prioritize your health and yourself, that's the problem. That is not like optional. Taking care of your health and yourself and your future when you have an illness is not optional. Even though we have good days where we feel normal, you can't let that make you feel re-diagnosed every day you wake up and you don't feel well. So on the same token, you have to remember that prioritizing your health on the good days, on the bad days, on all days makes you a better you for you and all the people around you. So don't have that temporary mindset. If something's too stressful, it needs to be dealt with. Food has nothing to do with that. There are options everywhere. So if you choose not to problem solve and give in to what's easy in tough moments, it's like saying, I only brush my teeth when I'm off of work. We would never just only brush our teeth on our days off, right? Because then you'd have side effects, besides people not really talking to you too close. But you'd have side effects from that if you only chose to brush your teeth on the days that are easy and you have all the time. So think of it like that. Your body doesn't give a shit about your schedule. That's the other thing. And your crazy schedule will only feel a lot crazier if you feel like crap. So I'm going to help run you through a prep hack really quick. If you do know that a crazy week is headed your way or some kind of stress that you're foreseeing, first of all, text me so we can work on releasing that stress. But more importantly, if you can't do a prep time where you say, okay, I'm prepping my breaded chicken for the dishes of the week, or oh, I'm prepping my donuts for the week, or whatever. Pick one thing that would make your life easier if it were done. That's all. Pick one thing that would make your life easier if it were done already for you at the end of the day. Pick 1 hour out of one day and block off that hour like it's a job. Because it's 1 hour out of the 702 hours in a month. I mean, yeah, 4 hours altogether, right? Out of the 702 hours of the whole month. I think we can make that work comparatively. So pick that one thing to prep. And if you get to the point of that time coming and you start saying to yourself, oh, I'll do it in a half hour, you know that ain't happening. So the second you want to say that, I have to do this with ADD all the time, so I feel you. The second that the thought crosses my mind in a second, I'm like, nope, I'm doing it right this second. Because I know things will pile on, I'll get distracted, some show will be on, then it'll be too late, then I'll start thinking of, well, maybe I can squeeze it in tomorrow, and it never happens. So plan that hour. Don't be like, the hero that's saying, I could squeeze it in at the end of my 16-hour long day. Pick a time that is actually realistically doable for you, that won't take all your energy. 1 hour. And plan to do that one thing. Now, if the time comes and you don't want to do it at all, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Would I rather get hormone-friendly takeout every night this week or prep for this hour? And that plays, finances play into that. Hormone, just the emotions of not being able to order what it is you truly want. You're ordering a salad from an Italian place, is the only place open by the time you get home. I've been there. When the decisions are limited, the options are limited and you're exhausted and you're hungry, the hanger at yourself is have you guys ever done this? I wish I didn't even need fucking food. It's such an annoying thing. It's such a chore. I just don't want to even think about it, right? One of those meltdowns. That will happen to me if I don't have one thing done that makes my life easier that week. So ask yourself, would I rather eat nutrition or sugar-free alternatives? Alexa, I will explain to you what nutrition is, but it's life-changing. But do I want to eat nutrition replacements or sugar-free replacements? Or do I want to make sure I have cookies prepped to come home to? Phrase those questions to yourself whenever you're trying to talk yourself out of doing something. Rephrase the questions, put it into perspective for yourself, and make the decision. That's my big tip of this whole thing is if you can't plan, if you sit there and you try to go gung-ho, I'm going to do this meal, I'm going to prep this, I'm going to have this prep day. When I get home from work, I'm going to make all this. There ain't nothing wrong with us both knowing that's bullshit. We just got to be real about it and plan around it. That is the key. Plan around it and go along with your human nature. And then more stuff gets done. That's all the jibber jabber I have for you guys so far. Yeah, that's all I have written down. I want to know your thoughts or your questions. So I am, feel free to hop off of here if you'd like. I'm going to leave this open for 2 more minutes to give anyone who's typing a chance to type, but I'm going to be closing this out. What time is it now? Stop blocking them. Okay, so 8:46, I'm going to close this out. So make sure you type in your questions. Don't mind me, just awkwardly stretching. Let me see what I missed up in this chat here. Yeah, so I see one thing here is I get so mad, like, why did I even try? So I want you guys to think, say your kid or your best friend or somebody you love so much comes to you because they tried out for something that they've never really done before, or they've only done a few times, they're not great at it, but they try out for a really big audition and they don't get it. And they come to you and they say, why did I even try? Like, what was the point of me even trying? I'm just gonna give up. Would you be like, yeah, it's probably a good idea. You're probably gonna suck at that forever. Like, no, you would never say that to you. You'd be like, you know what? Just keep practicing and try again. Why don't we treat ourselves the same? We're jerks to ourselves. Okay, guys, it is 8:46. I hope no one else is still typing. If you are, I'm going to post this recording in the page. Just type it there. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope that this really helped you. I love feedback, as you hear from me every week. So definitely tell me your thoughts, and enjoy the rest of your night. And remember, stop being such an asshole to yourself when the plan doesn't happen, because there's no plan ever. It's just life. So, bye.